We are live. We're doing our live coaching like we do once a week. Got my coffee. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We're going to do live Work Smart coaching this morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good morning.
Glad you asked.
Let me know where you're tuning in from. Type into the chat. Checking to see. This is the first time, you guys, that I'm going live on Restream, which basically allows you to go live in a bunch of different places at once, which is so cool, and I love it. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hi, from the Netherlands. Okay, so today we're going to talk about CEO tasks versus operating tasks. CEO tasks are basically a way for you to think about how do you do the things that are best use of your time. What are the things that you already do that you want to keep doing? And what are the things that you are doing that you want to delegate to someone else or a tool? So when I first started Blavity, I was doing all the things. I was literally doing everything. I was doing social. I was the editor-in-chief. I was the head fundraiser. We had no money, so it was completely bootstrapped from my bank account. And we were really just getting started. This was in 2014. And I think that for a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're just getting started, they're just starting out, it can feel overwhelming trying to decide how do they prioritize their time. So I want to talk about basically different ways that you can figure out how you should prioritize your time. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from as well. Go ahead and type into the chat. Type into the chat. Let me know where you're in from. Hi from Atlanta. Hi, Virginia. Ariel, welcome. Good morning, Maryland. Amazing. Okay, cool. So we've talked about this before if you've watched my lives before, but basically you want to start off with what are all the tasks that only you can do? Those are called your CEO tasks. And then you want to look at all the tasks that you're doing because there's no one else to give them to. That is called your operating tasks. So you literally, on a board, draw a line, CEO task and operating task. And then as you are scaling your business or as you're trying to find more time for yourself to be able to grow your business or grow your side hustle, if you still have your main job, type 1 into the chat if you have a day job still. Because a lot of folks still have their main hustle. And I don't know about you all, but I kept my day job for 3 years while I had Blavity. So my story is I started off working in tech in Silicon Valley. And then I did that for 2 years. And then I started Blavity on the side. And then after about 9 months, I didn't have enough time to actually be able to get Blavity to the next level. There was a plateau on how much we would be able to grow because I just didn't have enough time during the day to take calls, to do fundraising, to actually keep up with all the news that we were posting on the site. So there was this inflection point where it's either you're going to stay flat because there's no more time. I had no more time to invest in the business, or I was going to figure out how to get more time and be able to spend that on the business. But I lived in San Francisco, which is incredibly expensive. So what I did was I quit my job and then I got a side hustle. I know, crazy. But a lot of entrepreneurs do this. You all have all heard of entrepreneurs who, drive Ubers or work at DoorDash. And so I was like, all right, how do I make the same amount of money but have more freedom? And when you work a 9 to 5 in a corporate space, you don't have that much freedom, especially if you're working in an office, which at the time was where I was. So for me, it was important that I figured out how do I actually figure out to how to have more time. So what I did was got a consulting job. So I basically went back to my corporate gig and I said, how would you all feel if I quit my job but came on as a consultant to do a limited scope of work? And I did that for 3 years while I was still running Blavity. So I quit my job then for 3 years. So 2014 to 2017, I was the contractor at this other company. And that's what paid my bills and also financed the initial part of Blavity because I didn't have any investors for the first year. After the summer of 2014, that's when I raised our first round of funding. No, 2015. And I raised $500,000 for my first round of funding, which back in the day, $500,000 today doesn't get you very far. But $500,000 12 years ago, oh my gosh, I feel old saying that. But $500,000 that long ago, I was like, oh, we rich. Okay, we can do a lot with this. But instead of paying myself, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to take this salary and take a $75,000 salary, I said, all right, I'm going to keep my side hustle and I'm going to keep my consulting gig and I'm going to pay for a salesperson, a content person, and a marketing person to come on full time. So we used that initial financing to actually pay for and an office, and we got an office to put everybody in. So that's what we used our first round of funding for. So I honestly stayed in this consulting gig for another 18 months and used that to pay myself. So I didn't pay myself anything for the first 3.5 years of Blavity. And I think that's the part of entrepreneurship that a lot of people don't talk about. Like that's the part that a lot of people don't want to necessarily say, which is that sometimes your cash is going to dip for the first 5 years plus of entrepreneurship. People think you start these companies and you going to make a lot of money, but the average business, it takes a long time for them to be able to grow and be able to sustain themselves enough to be able to take profits and take that income for themselves. Type 1 into the chat if you're with me and let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm trying a new thing today, you guys, because I'm on this thing called Restream. I'm streaming across multiple platforms because I love going live on TikTok. Hi to all my TikTok folks. But I also have been growing my YouTube because some of my videos went viral over there. So hi to the people on YouTube. We love to see it. And shout out, I don't even know if anybody's watching this on Facebook, but we put Facebook in here for good measure. So I am doing speaking. I'm going on tour this year, you all. Going on tour. So I'm going on tour over the summer and the spring for my book launch, which is called Rewrite Your Rules. The app that I'm using is called Restream.io. They should pay me to promote a product, but it's okay. But yeah, so I'm going on tour this summer. So if you want me to stop in your city, just let me know. You can join Work Smart by just going to my website and click program, morgandebon.com, and click program. And you can join my community where you get updates on like where I'm going to be and all these frameworks that I'm talking about and all the things. There's hundreds of people in there. We have so much fun. So anyways, back to my rags to riches story. Okay. So you guys probably don't know this. I don't even know that I put this in the book. I used to live in the office. Like I legitimately lived in the office. That's how like hustle, like I was really getting it. I got a downtown artist loft and I got 2 units. And I did construction. I knocked down one of the walls in one of the units to cut it in half. And then I lived on one side and the office was on the other side. Okay. And so I would wake up and I would walk down the hall and go straight to work. We shared walls, which at the time, like in hindsight, I'm like, your girl was a wild girl, but that's what it took. Like that's the type of hustle that it takes to be able to scale this type of business this quickly, especially in the beginning when you don't have a lot of money. So after I had my first $500,000 and I hired those 3 people, sales, content, marketing, we were able to grow. We were able to start closing clients. We did our first event, Summit 21, which at the time was called Empower Her in New York. And then from there, we did Afrotech that same year. And that was in 2017. 2017? Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that was in 2017 in San Francisco. And we did it in a mall, you guys. We were in the Westfield Mall in downtown San Francisco. That was the first Afrotech. It was 350 people in a like conference center that was in the mall. And it was so great. It was amazing. And that was how we built our first events business because it was easier for us to drive revenue with sponsorships for events than it was from digital, because at the time we weren't big enough. We weren't big enough to demand huge media deals. And so that was the next problem that I had to solve. So how do I get bigger? How do I get bigger faster? And that's when I started to think about doing acquisitions. So if you know my story, you know that I've acquired 3 companies, 2 of which were digital media brands. And one of the reasons we did that was so that we could grow much faster, so that we could actually be able to say, like, to these bigger brands, yeah, we're a real competitor to Black Enterprise. We're a real competitor to Ebony. We're a real competitor to Essence. You know, I'm saying these brands, you guys are like, yeah, you're definitely bigger than these. I know this, but at the time we were not. So we had to get there. We had to build it. We had to either build it or you buy it. You know, acquisitions are really hard to do. And a lot of folks in the Black community don't think about partnering with one another and doing business deals with each other to be able to grow. Someone said Elizabeth Ho's living in the office. Child, don't compare me. That lady is in jail. We were very ethical with it, but yeah, no, I was hardcore. I was definitely hardcore. Any updates on the Blavity Creator Collective? So if you've applied to the Creator Collective, we're slowly releasing the people who are getting accepted. If you look on Instagram, you'll see a lot of not younger, but you'll see a lot of new faces to our Instagram account. We haven't moved as much over to TikTok yet, but on Instagram for sure, we have a lot of creators that have been onboarded onto the creator program. So for anyone who is like, what the hell are you talking about? The creator program is Blavity's Black creator program for people who are micro influencers. So generally like 5 to 25,000 followers on Instagram or TikTok. And they're trying to build their platform. And more importantly, they're trying to build their professionalism so that they can get bigger brand deals. So what we do is say, okay, cool. It's a paid program. We pay you per post. So it's completely paid. It's not an internship or anything. And from there, hi. Josh is like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to right now? I am talking to a screen. So anyway, so you apply, then we do teachings and trainings and webinars. So it's community. So you meet other Black creators. And then it also helps people who are trying to figure out how do they get more brand deals. So then we teach you like what the right rates are. And then you're on our short list for brand deals when we work with bigger brands like General Motors or P&G or beauty brands, Sephora, Nike. I mean, we have great partners and great clients. So we love to support the people that we already work with that are in the Creator Collective. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to blavityinc.com and click there. If there's any creators in the room, type 1 into the chat. Okay. Do you ever do solely focus college student campus or tour? Yeah, I go to college campuses all the time. I'm going to Vanderbilt. I live in Nashville, y'all, so I'll go to Vanderbilt in next week. I have a speaking engagement at Vanderbilt. On my book tour, I'm going to stop back in St. Louis, which is where I went to college and also where I'm from. So I'm going to do a tour stop at WashU on campus, make sure it's accessible to students. So yeah, I always go to campuses. I love the kids. More importantly, I just think the youth knows what's up. You all are the future. Chattanooga in the building. Good morning. So yeah, what else do you guys want to know? Blavity has been around for over 10 years at this point. Good morning to all these people joining in. I go live occasionally. Someone asked how often I go live. I go live occasionally, just whenever I have some time. Like I have a meeting at 9, it's 8:42. It's not much I'm going to be able to accomplish in 20 minutes. So just thought I would go live for a little bit. But I also do private like coaching calls and group coaching calls with my Work Smart cohorts. So we meet monthly. We talk about different topics. Like we just met on Tuesday night and we talked about how to manage your time and manage your week. So basically, how do you flow? How do you look at your calendar so that you are maximizing your energy, but also making sure that everything gets done, but be able to work less? Because what I notice is a lot of people are very reactive with their calendars. They're like, oh, I gotta do this meeting, I gotta run this errand, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. So they're just reacting to everything and then placing it randomly on the calendar, or just trying to find open slots for things to fit into their schedule. But that's not really productive. That's not really an efficient or smart way to organize your calendar. So what we talked about is basically how do you theme your days, and how do you take your how do you look at, even if you have a 9 to 5, like how do you look at what work needs to get done, what's dependent on you, and what's dependent on the people that are around you to get done. So let's say you're an entrepreneur and you've got 2 or 3 clients and there's client work that needs to get done. Doing that in the morning or do it in the evening. Well, if somebody needs to do something in it, you kind of want to do your part in the morning so that they have the rest of the day to get their work done. If you don't hand it to them till 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, then they don't have any time to get it done. So they're going to do it the next day. So just helping people rethink where they're placing things on their calendar will actually help them reduce actually the amount of work that you're doing, because things just happen faster. But yeah, if you go to the link in my bio or you go to morgandebond.com, you can sign up for WorkSmart. And anyone who joins WorkSmart Plus gets a copy of my book, which is so fun. That book comes out April 1, you all. I see some people on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Hello, Houston. What's up, Atlanta? Atlanta in the building. Someone from Missouri in the building. Love that. What was the thought process on creating Blavity Fest? Sure. Okay, so Blavity Fest is our new festival. It's in Atlanta. It's in May. So if you haven't bought your ticket, go ahead and buy your ticket. We're about to drop a ton of speakers. We have a great lineup. Blavity owns a bunch of brands. We own Travel Noir, we own Blavity, Shadow and Act, Afrotech, who am I forgetting? Home and Texture. And so the question that I ask myself is, how do you bring these brands to life? How do you bring these brands in person in a way that the creators, the thought leaders, the innovators that are a part of that culture, whether it's your travel and leisure, or it's home design, interior design, or it's activism, how do you bring them all into one place and then also have a moment of just fun? You know, there's not really anything at scale for our generation. There's a few brands that are doing amazing work, and I think they're awesome, like Afrofuture, you know, who does formerly Afrochella, when they were in doing their parties in Ghana. Now they're doing one in Detroit, so I'm excited for that. Then you've got CultureCon, which is awesome, but that's really it. You've got music festivals, but you don't have like learning experiences where we're really promoting and creating a platform for the people of our generation to be on the stage. I think a lot of experiences are very celebrity driven in the Black community. They're very tops down, like, oh, let's get Halle Berry, or let's get Serena Williams, or let's get Michelle Obama. And yes, that's exciting, but like that's not really relatable, you know? So if you all are trying to grow your business, or you're trying to decide if you want to be a full-time mom or go back to work, like you need to talk to people who are only 1 or 2 steps ahead of you versus the former president, you know, first secretary of the whatever, Condoleezza Rice. So how do you actually do that? Well, I think for many of us, we didn't grow up in households that are a reflection of how we like to live our lives now, right? Like our parents worked in the same job for 20 years, or, you know, our moms worked 2 jobs to be able to feed us, and all, whatever your reality is. But we have a lot more freedom, a lot more choice now. So it's really just knowing what's accessible to you and learning from other people who know how to do what you want to do. So that's what Blavity Fest is all about. It's about bringing people together to be able to do that. We, of course, have music. So Kirk Franklin is performing on Sunday. 2 Chainz is performing on Saturday night. We're doing a DJ battle to promote up-and-coming Black DJs from around the country. We're doing all types of stuff. We're doing a hospitality workshop. How do you do your first, dinner parties? We've got Tiffany the Budgetnista coming to help y'all get y'all money together. We've got Trade and Travel Terry coming to teach you how to trade stocks for income so that you can live wherever you want. We've got amazing lineup. It hasn't even all been released yet, so you're hearing it here first. David Shands, just like a really good group of people. So that's Blavity Fest. You can go to blavity.com and click our events page, and you'll see some of that stuff and how to get involved. We are accepting speakers. That's something else that we do a lot of Blavity is like, we want to promote you all. That's why we do things like the Creator Collective, so that we can help young people of color do well. So hopefully that answers your question about why I created Blavity Fest. What other questions do you guys have? Type 1 into the chat. Black vets would be nice. That's a very specific request. Black vets are always welcome. We're actually partnering with the Army, so you'll see the Army there. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, here for it. But make sure you guys check out Work Smart. Just going to morgandebond.com and joining the program there. What's the best way as a speaker to stop getting unpaid speaking engagements? Stop taking unpaid speaking engagements? The best way to stop doing something is to stop. I think your real question is, what's the best way to get paid speaking engagements? And the best way to get paid speaking engagements is to have something worthy of people paying for you to speak. Like, it's about people pay people to be speakers for a variety of reasons. Either one, the content that you have is so unique and so valuable that they want to pay for your audience to get access to it because they know that that's going to drive great value for their attendees. So me paying someone like Tiffany the Budgetnista to come teach y'all about budgets, I know you guys are going to get a lot of value from that. I wouldn't necessarily pay for somebody to teach you how to grow plants in your house. Right. So the cost benefit has to be there. And then the second thing is the second reason why you pay speakers is because they're going to drive ticket sales. So how many tickets will that person drive? So if I post an event and y'all see that I'm coming to Atlanta, how many of you all are going to convert to that event because I'm coming to Atlanta? So if you're speaking everywhere all the time, then everybody sees you. So there not that many people are going to be like, oh my God, like Susie's here. It's like, bro, I see Susie every day. Right. So it's not that unique. But if you are someone who's really valuable, you have a great community and you're not that accessible, then people will really show up, to see you speak. And so you can do ticket sales. Your pricing can be a reflection of how much money you're going to drive that business. So let's say I go to do an event and I'm speaking and I drive 100 people and they're charging $100 per ticket. My speaker fee also can't be higher than what like the value is that I'm bringing to the table. Right. So it's definitely an equation. Or if you're doing speaker fees, sometimes it's talent, right? Like a MC or a moderator, like that person's really working hard. So sometimes you got to pay more for a moderator or host and MC. So that's something that you can consider if you want to make money as a speaker. In terms of vendors, yes, we are definitely taking vendors. We have a small business vendor marketplace. If you go to Blavity Fest and you click the menu, I think you can find the vendor application to be able to buy a booth to be able to sell your products in the small business marketplace, which we call off the shelves. For sure. How do you sign up for the DJ competition at Blavity Fest? Same thing. Go to the website, Blavity Fest, go to blavity.com, click events, and you'll be able to do that. All right, boo thangs. I got to prep for this meeting that I have in 9 minutes. This was so much fun, though. I'm so happy that Restream worked out and that I'm streaming everywhere like Gary Vaynerchuk. Call me your black girl, Gary V. Are you still taking sponsors? Yes, but yes, and we have sponsor fees minimums. If you are a small business, it would be better for you to be in the small business marketplace. That's going to be a more cost efficient. Our sponsorships are priced for Fortune 100 companies. So as much as I love Black folks sponsoring our events, there's a much cheaper option, which is to be in a vendor marketplace, which is priced right. I don't want to take Black people's money. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to make money. Okay, beautiful people. Morganbound.com to sign up to get access to Work Smart. We do this every month. I talk to y'all in there. I have a great time in there. There's lots of other incredible, ambitious professionals, creatives, entrepreneurs. We go over frameworks. There's downloads on how to use things like ChatGPT. There's downloads on how to organize your calendar, job descriptions. If you're trying to hire a virtual assistant, a personal assistant, a chief of staff, like we have so much great content in there. And yeah, it's just becoming one of my favorite places to hang out with y'all. So thank you for joining. I don't know how to end this thing. How do I end it? Blah.